Oh, well, hello. Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Wow, I totally forgot I had a pocket change market report today. Well, no, I didn't. I didn't forget, and I don't think a lot of you did either. Because really, it's a exciting time to be part of the coin hobby, especially if you're like me. You like to go out and actually find some of these errors and varieties out there as opposed to just buying them. I mean, you could do that too, but where's the fun in all that? As usual, we're going to take a look at the last 24 to 36-ish hours of eBay sales to see what people have been, number one, finding out there, and secondly, how much they're able to muster from the incredible secondary market for these collectibles. So again, thank you for joining in to one of my favorite videos, and hopefully yours as well, as we explore some of these coins. And as always, a few common things week in, week out with the PCMR. None of the coins are graded. Okay, big reason is it costs a lot of money to get an error attribution through PCGS. I think at the cheapest price level, it's like $89, so that's the base submission rate, and another $65 on top of that for any error coin. So if you think you're going to go ahead and just submit that $25 valued error coin, whatever it may be, get it graded, and you think you're going to, make a lot more money off of that, you might want to think again. The cool thing about errors and varieties is that they sell for themselves. Really, you take really good pictures, you know what you have. You go ahead and display it into the title and description along with a little bit of condition notes, and you're good to go. Another thing to keep in mind, all of the images on here are original to their respective sellers' listings. Okay, we didn't juice them up, we didn't do anything funny. So obviously we're going to come across a few of these pictures that are a little bit out of focus. Maybe they're going to be a little bit dark, but all in all, these are going to show kind of like the expectation level, I suppose. You're going to get a little bit of a photography lesson to boot. But yeah, you're going to see what people are working with. And even, with some of the most lousiest of images, they're still able to sell these for a pretty good value. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what people have been finding out in circulation and cherry picking through all the coin shops and dealers. Starting out with, of course, we got started off with a new coin. 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware. Case in point. This photo did not receive nearly enough light to really make it shine. In addition, it is a little bit out of focus as well, but this is a Philadelphia minted coin. What do we know about these? Well, you can find these nifty little die chips right atop Washington's head on the reverse of the coin. Okay, these were commonly referred to nickname-wise as crown die chips, and they could be tiny and they could be big. The big ones, of course, fetch the most amount of money because they are the later progression states of those particular chips. This one right here, I would say it's medium. It's not the smallest, it's not the largest, it's like right in the middle. Still, pretty good value here. Sold for $29.50 with 8 bids. Keeping in mind we are in 2022. In case you haven't flipped over the calendar lately. Yeah, we are in a different year. So this coin is the outgoing kind of like big deal, along with a few other big deals from 2021. But yeah, these are still out there. Make sure you're looking out for these. Now check this one out. Coin from our friends from the north, 1981 Canadian penny right here. This one's off center. It looks to be about, 15%. Looks like there might be even a partial tilted collar as well. They kind of go hand in hand, but this is a really nice coin. Of course, Canadian errors are quite the market these days. There aren't too many Canadian errors out there, and it's a really robust collector base, especially up there in Canada. I mean, go figure, right? But this is a relatively more modern date of coin here with this error, and it's a really nice shape, although it does have what looks to be a smeared fingerprint on the, I guess that would be the obverse, the side with Queen Elizabeth. But it's an imperfect coin. But again, errors of this type don't show up that often. This one sold for $41.96. All right, back to some more modern coinage, and we've seen a few of these enter the marketplace. People have also been finding these. There have been a number of folks that are finding brand new 2020 and 2021 off-center struck Lincoln Shield cents. People are sharing their finds even on Facebook. Like I said, there's a Shield cents group. If you haven't joined it, you got to check it out. That's where a lot of the biggest kind of news come through for various finds and whatnot on this particular short series. But you can see right there, getting off center by, I would say, 15%, along again with that Canadian cent. A little partial tilted collar. You can see the stepped railroaded edge right here, which is that's kind of like the prominent marker for a partial tilted collar. This one sold for $11.50 with 8 bids. Not too bad. Continuing on with more Lincolns. This time we have a little bit older 1952D Lincoln wheat cent. The coin looks to be in decent shape. However, it's got some issues. It's got little water spots and carbon spotting on there. So it's not, again, not a top flight coin, but this is a really good variety to look out for, along with a myriad of other different types of repunch mint marks. So the mint mark was inadvertently punched into the working die a few times. This one is RPM number 5, and it shows a secondary D-punch that's east of the primary mint mark. You can see the extra vertical bar right there, and then this outward curl of another Denver mint mark there. Pretty nice. This one realized $13.90. There are a ton of RPMs in not only the 50s, but probably going into the 60s as well. 1960D large date is a huge date, which is a Lincoln Memorial back, by the way. A huge date for RPMs. A lot of good ones, might I add. All right, finally, anything else but Lincolns. How about a Roosevelt dime? Not saying that it was any better, because really nobody collects dimes, right? I might be the only one. Here's a 1996P Roosevelt dime. It certainly exhibits a uncentered broad strike. All right, so the collar which holds the coin in during the strike was disengaged. It was completely missing, so that metal flow has to go outwards. This thing, as a broad strike, is a lot bigger than a standard Roosevelt dime is. I mean, that could have made it any more evident here. Not sure if this is damage right here. It could be, which any coin that's outside of the standard size of that particular denomination will exhibit some sort of damage as they go through coin counters and rolling machines and all that stuff. So this one right here, not too bad of a coin. This one ended up selling for $43.99. These are collected by date, so if there's a specific date that is a little bit more tougher to find out in the marketplace, there will be people that will engage in some sort of bidding war to obtain some of the lesser known dates. And that'll good looking coin there. All right, so we got Ike dollar here, and this one I wish I would have seen because this one is spectacular. It's a 1976D Eisenhower dollar. This is indeed a bicentennial 1 year type. But check out the reverse. You have a couple of really nice kind of like spaghetti type of strike throughs. Very soft. I'm sure this was struck through some thread of some sort, probably coming off whatever the polishing cloth that they use. It might have some of those threads on there. But then, it can come from anywhere. They're quite soft. No, they are not scratches because they don't have the buildup of the material that you would see on either side of the anomaly on there. This one just doesn't have that. So what are we looking at here? I would say that this one is a pretty good bargain, considering that any error on an Ike dollar is quite coveted these days. This one ended up selling for only $22.50 with what looks to be 3 bids on this one. So yeah, I felt like that this one could have sold for a lot more money, but again, you can't get any better than the pictures you see here. Now, as crazy as it sounds, this nickel right here sold for more than that Ike dollar. Yeah, just take a little time to kind of, absorb that in, because I can't believe it either. But we have a 2020. Don't really know if it's a Philadelphia or Denver minted coin, but obviously this one has been struck through some grease, which, there you go. That's what that looks like. More grease coming off of the obverse die than the reverse, but you do see a little bit on there as well. Yeah, you're just going to get a general weakness of a lot of the devices. Normally you're going to see that toward the edge of the coin. So those edge periphery areas are going to be more affected when the grease is on the die and they're striking coins. That grease will continue to move outwards until they starburst. And this one right here sold for $26 with 9 bids. Again, yeah, pretty strange that we see this one sell for more than that Ike dollar, which I think is a much more premium example of a strike through. Now, here's one I haven't talked in quite some time, and I can't believe it either, because there are a cajillion double-to-die reverses on the Harper's Ferry quarters, most specifically the Philadelphias. You're really not going to see too many of them on Denver, so if you found a Denver, toss them back. For the most part, you're probably not going to get anything on that. But this date is notorious for the just wide array of different doubling that you will find on this particular window pane area. Now, if you haven't seen the doubling, I don't know what to say, but you're going to see the doubling window panes right here in this set. On other variants, they could be in this set, they could be in this set, they could be in this one here. They could be all over the place, and they're neat. But they're also quite plentiful. So if you do come across these, it's always worth a check. Keep in mind, the most important tool for any treasure hunter or coin roll hunter is going to be a magnifier. I recommend anything that is 7 to 10 times power. You don't need generally anything more stronger than that if you guys need it. I also have links down below in the description box. Those things are cheap. You're not going to spend a whole lot of money to add what is going to be the most important tool when you're looking for these errors and varieties. But there you go. Harper's Ferry. This is the WDDR number 29. And there are, I believe, over 100 different double-to-die reverses for this particular date. It didn't sell for a lot, $3.99, but, if you went through a box of these things and came away with, 15 or 20 of them, do the math. They all add up, and this is always a neat variety to look out for. We're on to more quarters, so you're going to see a little bit of a theme. Quarters kind of dominated this particular episode of the PCMR, but this is again one that I love talking about because they're out there. People are finding them, and even though the later examples that people are encountering are pretty well circulated or they show circulation, they're still worth money. But it's the 2021 P Tuskegee Airmen ATB quarter. It's the last one of the series. Thank God it's over, but now we're into a completely different series. But this one right here is still out there for the taking. But it's going to be that strike through that usually sits right on the building. Kind of has that look of it being on fire, which I think is the part that kind of makes these very interesting. But yeah, you can see the smoke billowing away there. By the way, that's not supposed to be there. That was made in error due to some sort of field-restricted type of strike-through, whether it be some grease with some debris or something. But yeah, pretty cool right there. Sold for $101 with 8 bids. Showing once again that even though we are a year out from these being found, they are still a popular sell. So if you're interested and you're on the East Coast, you're still coming across these Tuskegee Airmen's, I would encourage you guys to continue that search for sure. And this one's cool. Haven't talked about one of these in quite a while either. It's a 1976. You can find this for virtually just about any date going into the 90s. But this is a Jefferson nickel. As you can see, the front of the coin, the obverse, is a little bit off center, but the back is perfectly centered. All right, so what do we have here? This is a misaligned die error. All right, so the obverse die or the hammer die is a little bit loose. All right, so when it strikes coins, it'll strike that front a little bit off center on occasion, and this is the byproduct that you have here. With the misaligned dies, it gets really interesting when it begins to cut off some of the edge devices, like In God We Trust is probably cut almost in half as a result of this error type. This one sold for $10.25 with 4 bids. And here's a 1997D. Probably a little bit tougher D to find with an off-center strike. Again, people do collect these by date. So this one right here, pretty well circulated. It's not a gem, as you can tell. It's got a lot of nicks and just overall circulation wear, but this one's off-center by about 10%. It's not nothing major. However, this one's still sold for $20.94. I think that would be my play at the end of the day. If it doesn't fit your need or your collection, go ahead and sell it. The market is robust and dangerously overperforming right now, and I say that with cautious optimism because at any point the market can correct on these, but now would be a time to sell these along with any other error if it doesn't suit your needs. Now we've actually seen quite a few curved clipped planchet struck coins, right? But have you guys seen blanks with the curved clips? This is what the beginning product looks like before the coins are ever struck. So you have one complete just planchet right there. It looks to be a Type 2. It does have a upset rim, but you also have 3 other Lincoln set blanks with curved clips. Those what those look like. They all seem to be Type 2s with that upset rim as well. And you'll see Blakesley effect on them as well, which is pretty neat. This one right here, the more crescent moon shaped one, is quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a progression set of just clipped planchets, this is actually a pretty good buy. If for a educational or research standpoint, this would be a good kind of lot to just own for that specific just need. And this right here sold for $39.09 with 18 bids. So this coin or coin lot, along with the next few coin lots like this one here, are all Hallenbeck coins listings. He just had a number of listings end here within the last 12 hours, and these are the best of the best. And yeah, probably one of the more marquee eBay sellers online. For errors of any type. So we have a 2001D Lincoln cent. Again, another broad struck coin here. This one is a more centered version. And it also comes with a complementing regular, perfectly fine 2001D Lincoln. So it's a 2-coin set, highlighted, of course, by the broad struck coin. There's a picture of the reverse for both examples, showing just a really nice high-grade specimens. Nothing that would scream, hey, watch out, this one's damaged or corroded, because that's always the fear that you want to be on the lookout for these Zinkins. So yeah, pretty neat here for this lot. Sold for $23.50 with 9 bids. All right, more Hallenbeck material. We have a 2-coin lot of statehood quarter off-center strikes. We have a Georgia, 1999, and a Connecticut. The Connecticut's really neat. It's my favorite design out of the whole series. But yeah, if you're looking for this, this is a really cool 2-coin lot. And look at that, they're both Denvers, which I just noticed right now when I flip to the next slide. Denver coins or statehood quarters are not commonly seen out there, but statehood quarter errors in general are highly desired. There have been quite a bit of interest lately, especially in the last 12 months, for any sort of error. Again, these are collected by state and by date and by mint mark. So this is kind of like a pretty good set right here of 2 coins. That ultimately sold for $31.98 with 9 bids. Yeah, both coins appear to have circulated. And here's another Hallenbeck lot. We have a set of 3 off-center struck Lincoln cents. They're all in pretty good shape. They're all nice high-grade BU specimens. We have a 1988, 89, and 90. So we got a consecutive date set here, which is pretty cool. And this one sold for $37.10 with 15 bids. Again, really nice lot. Another lot here, again by Hallenbeck. We have an 85p and an 88p Jefferson nickel off-center strike lot. Both coins are off-center by about 60 to 70%. Really nice duo here. Great grade overall. I would say the 88 looks a little bit better than the 85. Again, it's got a full date, therefore they are more desirable when you could read a full date and mint mark. This one sold for $49 with 18 bids. So a very strong amount of money. Again, off-center strikes are very strong in the market right now. If you got them with full dates and you just don't need them, now might be a good time to liquidate them. Now this one's really cool, okay? Now what appears to be a 1973 Lincoln Memorial cent. Now keep in mind, the coin's not like premier shape. It's got some weird kind of grungy grime on the front there, but yeah, it looks to be a lamination error, right? Which is what, you would expect for something like this. It's even got a little weakness on the reverse, which might be part of what's going on here at the base of Lincoln's bust. But all in all, just a really kind of flaky looking example. I really like this more than I should. But take a look at that. It's got an actual detached piece of lamination. I don't know if it was helped along at one point. It might have been, but I think based off of what I'm seeing for the underneath area where it's nice and red, there is some carbon spotting and areas of oxidation. So this is probably a coin that was pulled out of change really early on and preserved for a number of years. Really cool coin. I mean, it's sold for $91. What do you guys think? Is this a very overachieving amount of money for this? I mean, it is a huge bonus to have the actual lamination piece still with the coin. Normally, these are lost long ago, especially when they're in mid-state condition in a bag. This is something you don't encounter that often. $91 with 24 bids. So there was a lot of people interested in these. And I'll say this once again. If you have these laminations, try and tempt your, I guess, desire to help these along and peel them off. Because sometimes it'll do more harm than good. And Hallenbeck continues to roll with some bangers. How about a 36 Lincoln wheat cent? This one is off-center, again, by, I would say, 10-15%. A pretty nice coin with some wood graining. So we do have an improper alloy mix at work here. This one sold for $71 with 25 bids. Again, the combination with the off-center strike and the woody kind of gives this one a very unique appearance. So that's why the sale was quite strong on there. And if I'm not mistaken, this might be the last Hallenbeck lot. We have a lot of 5 Lincoln wheat cents, all varying different types of dates, and one for representing each decade of the wheat cent era, save for the 1909. That would just be a little bit too special. But we have a 1919, a 24, 34, 44, and a 56, all with curved clips. So this is kind of like a neat coincidental type 5-coin lot here. Spanning 50 years worth of coins. I'd say it's pretty neat. Well, kind of a bargain, $23.50 with 8 bids. There's a ton of potential here considering that is one of each decade. But yeah, curved clip lot right here, averaging about $4.50 per coin, which seems about right for these. Alright, so not the best picture. This was actually imaged in a 2x2 holder sitting on a counter at kind of an angle. So kind of like a 3/4 turn angle. But yeah, you're seeing that correct. It's a 1937D Buffalo nickel with 3 legs. So that third leg, or the fourth leg rather, on the front of the Buffalo was braided away or over polished. So, you know, it'll show up missing. Yeah, it looks to be a legit example. I do see some of the die markers necessary, you know, to really show this this effect on the three legs. It does have a little bit of damage, kind of these rim bumps here on the reverse near the hind leg of Black Diamond. And yeah, I would say this one sold for quite a bit more money than I would be willing to pay, given its photography and the damage on the reverse, at $1,039.99. But again, we've seen quite a few of these sold raw, which means you don't need to necessarily grade a three legs buffalo if you wanted to. All right, so for some of my silver folks out there that enjoy this sort of thing, I threw this one up here because I kind of like it. It's an old vintage 25-ounce Engelhard bar, which is quite cool. You don't see this this kind of like not denomination, but this particular size and weight of bar. Usually you find 1 ounces, 2 ounces, 5 ounce, going all the way up to 100 ounce, but 25 ounces, something you don't see that often. The seller made it known that there is an error in the punch of the ounce on here, so it's a 2 and a 5, but they also punched a 0, all right, which is matching the same punch size and type of these other zeros here. 999 fine plus Engelhard bar. There's the back of the bar, so it's a nice early vintage type. Could even speculate, because I don't know nearly enough about these, as to the age of the bar. If I had to guess, maybe 1960s, maybe 1950s. Hard to say. But yeah, pretty interesting. Now, obviously, this type of bar at 25 ounces doesn't typically sell for the standard kind of like melt value. With the vintage bars, there is a pretty substantial premium that you guys need to know about. And that's why I always tell folks to look out for these. If it looks old, it probably is old. Yeah, this one sold for $2,507.95. Nowhere near close to the actual melt value of such a piece, but it sure is interesting. And there is always collectors for these. Whoa, we're back to more quarters. I bet you guys didn't really know about this one. 2019 P Lowell ATB quarter. And no, it doesn't have a W mint mark. I bet some of you were probably looking for that. But it's got this pretty neat die chip right here on the bell tower on the reverse. And yeah, again, little chips and whatnot, little terminal state little die doodads that you find on these are quite interesting, and yeah, they do have a little bit of value. This one right here sold for $4.57. Again, the coin is pretty well circulated right there, but another cool find. You know, make sure you flip over every single ATB quarter, and if it's a Philadelphia, you'll probably want to do that anyways. Here's a pretty neat 1942 Jefferson nickel. So you guys know what's going on there. On the front of the coin, you have a pretty major lamination issue. These earlier nickels really had annealing issues. And this is kind of like one of those byproducts of some of the coins that came out of that era of production. But there you go. Pretty nice major delamination on the front of this one. This one managed to sell for $20, which is a really good amount of money. The reverse is showing just a rather quite a bit of circulation wear. So it's not a top grade example, but it is a very, very strong example of this error. Now, it's nice to see that these particular varieties have been going up in value. I used to remember these being sold for around $20 to $25, even in this grade, as recently as like 2017, 2018. But this is a 38 triple S, so it's an S over S over S repunch mint mark. This is also FS 502 in the Cherry Picker's Guide, and it's RPM number 2. But the seller did a really good job of displaying the 3 individual mint mark punches. There's the first one there. There's the second. and then the third one that you see there to the west. So each individual punch is slightly west to each other. This one right here ended up selling for $49.95. Strong market. I mean, again, these used to sell for $20, $25 as they were a common find in BU rolls. But now people are definitely paying what it's worth ungraded. These graded normally fetches a few $100s in like Mid-State 65. All right, quick little update on our Twig Boy here. This is the brand new 2022 P Maya Angelou. It's the only new 22 quarter out right now. But look out for this little die gouge on the reverse right at the eagle's beak, which has been referred to as the twig or nest builder. I'm rolling my eyes right now, reverse. That is the namesake that these have been given in the community. This one's sold for $17.95. Again, staying well within that wheelhouse for the value. These have been selling for between $10 and $20. But, you know, as more of these are being found and demand is being met, these will drop in value. All right, we didn't talk really about a whole lot of currency, but yeah, we're going to slot this one in here. It's a 1977 $20 bill with a gutter fold. All right, so the subject sheet had a wrinkle in it, and it was printed over, leaving this this void here in the print. Once the wrinkle has been stretched out after the print, it'll leave a gutter. You know, pretty simple. And this one sold for $89.95. It's a well-circulated note. 1978 Washington quarter, off-center. Off-center by about 10%. Looks a little oblong there, but it is legit. It's a Philadelphia minted coin, and it's a really nice shape. This one is not that. Yeah, I accidentally advanced a little bit too far. This one sold for $32.30. Again, date collectors want this type. But yeah, you saw the little Buffalo nickel. Now, this isn't an old Buffalo nickel. It's a 2005 Philadelphia minted Buffalo reverse nickel. So a lot of folks are very familiar with the what they call the speared buffalo. However, that can be found on the Denver minted examples. However, this is a relatively recent discovery. I would say it's probably 3-4 years old, maybe a little bit longer. This one has a similar type of spike, only this time on the rear rump area of black diamond here. But upon closer examination, when it goes into the actual design of the buffalo, it's a die crack. All right, so it's a very neat type of error, and these are examples that have been gaining in popularity lately. And I could see this one day showing up in the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change book in the near future. This one sold for $43.95. Again, if that money is any indication to the interest level for this particular error, I would say that this is going to be pretty coveted in the future and probably will make its way into some sort of publications. This is one to be on the lookout for. Again, it's a Philadelphia coin. All right, you're probably not going to see another one of these for at least a year, because that's the frequency in which you find the this type of off-center offset error. Yeah, that hopefully didn't confuse you, but this is a wet ink transfer offset. So it's a back-to-front style of transfer, as you can see there, and it's also backwards is what you want to see on that secondary design. But look, it's shifted way to the right on this one. Normally they would be pretty well centered onto the design of wherever it sits. The back of the note, pretty nice. It looks like it was pulled out of a fresh BEP strap. This one sold for $139 with 32 bids. So a lot of people were interested. This will probably end up in a graded holder in the near future, because you just don't see a lot of these ones at all. Another good one to look out for. I mean, this is not a beauty queen, but it's a 36 Lincoln Memorial or Lincoln wheat cent, not a memorial. Jeez, been doing this for too long. But this one right here is the DDO. I believe this is the FS 101. It's got the strongest doubling on the date and on Liberty. The FS102 has pretty strong doubling on not only the date, but also the motto as well. So that's the main difference, but you can see the doubled 1, the double tail on the 9, same with the 3, and then the 6. You can actually see the split right there at the bottom curl. Very nice variety, although the host coin is not in that great a shape. It's showing a lot of gunk and corrosion. Still, however, it did sell for $87.95. So, yeah, interest is heating up for this variety. Here's a 1946 Lincoln wheat cent with a delamination. As you can see there on the obverse of the coin is in generally decent shape as well. And this one sold for $14.50. Again, the money is strong with these laminations. Here's another 3-coin lot. Now, this is interesting. We have a 1945 Lincoln. That's the coin up top with a curved clip. We have the nice minty fresh 1946 with a cud die break on the reverse. You can see that right over the right wheat stock. And then a 1940 Lincoln with a fissure or a ragged clip. That's the coin on the bottom right. So this is just a really fun, diverse error group, all from the early Lincoln design. And this one ended up selling for $84 with 14 bids. Most of the value, of course, is in that 1946 cud die break that you see there on the bottom left. So again, I knew exactly what that one was even before I looked at the obverse, because I have like 6 of that same cud that I've found in wheat cent bags over the years. So just a great looking coin, although mine are not mid-state like that one is. Great looking lot right here. I mean, if you absolutely need to sell it as a lot, you are going to take a little bit of a discount based on the bulk kind of like unwritten rule of selling these things. So keep that in mind. If you could sell them individually, that's where you're going to realize a lot more money. Now, it's not a pretty coin, but this is a 2004D Wisconsin statehood quarter, and it does have the low leaf variant on the reverse. Now, no, this was not sold in Texas or Oklahoma or Arkansas, where a lot of these were distributed back at release. But this one was actually sold in Oregon, out of all places. So it could have been found in circulation. And boy, has it circulated. This one's not the highest of grade of the examples. But there's a little bit of a close-up. The seller took a picture of their microscope little LCD screen, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's a legit example of a low leaf. This one sold for $28.12 with 8 bids. That's one of the lowest realized prices I've seen for this, but given its circulation, I think the pricing is justified. Here's a 2-coin lot of Roosevelt dimes. Both, I would say, are a little bit off-center by about 10-15%. We have an 88p and a 98p. So you got like kind of like a 10-year anniversary type deal here, which I think is really neat. This one set is in great shape as well. I would say they both qualify as mid-state. Sold for $31 with 7 bids. Now, the performer of the week has to be this 1957 Lincoln wheat set. Now, I have a few of these. I think after this sale, I'm going to have to throw a few of these up. But yeah, this one is a pretty well circulated example. It has a little bit of a die chip here in the 9 and the date, but the big part of it is going to be that BIE die chip. All right, so really nice close-ups by the seller. I think he or she did everything right to promote this one with just the images alone. Sold for $34 with 17 bids, which is a pretty decent amount of money for these later date 1950s BIE die chips. So pretty cool. Oh, by the way, the reason why it's called a BIE is that this die chip that connects the B and E in Liberty actually looks like a letter I. So there you go. You guys get a full-on explanation for that. Now, our subject coin of the week is one that I haven't seen in probably 3 years. But I know this one existed, and there were a few examples struck, again, with the attention on the Tuskegee Airmen strike through and, the later date Lincoln Shield Cent strike throughs. Yeah, we have to go back and kind of look at one of the more innovating coins that exhibited a pretty wild strike through. It's 2016. South Carolina Fort Moultrie ATB quarter. Again, these are Philadelphia minted coins, and this one has a huge strike through right here on the left side of this, field area on the reverse. That was a gob of grease and debris all mixed together to produce that phenomenal looking strike through. Quite nice. This one sold for $54.95. I would say the coin is got a little bit of circulation, but still qualifies as mint state. Again, this is still out there, ladies and gentlemen. This is like free easy money. And last time I checked, with the price of gas going up, you might as well make it worth your while and check every single side of your coins for things like this. And we're going to end off the PCMR this week with a favorite of mine. Now, the seller had said this is a 72S Lincoln Memorial cent, and I'll be damned if I could see an actual date. I'll just say that. Although this strike through cap die, I would say qualifies as a late stage because you do see part of Liberty beginning to show, which means that the actual coin that's capped onto the obverse die is a late stage. It's razor thin, so it's starting to produce coins and show some of the devices from the actual die. But yeah, pretty crazy looking coin here. These are always a favorite. These pop up in circulation when you least expect it. No, it's not damaged. This is a legit error. How about $55.50 with 12 total bids on this one? A lot of activity, a lot of interest, and I could see why. San Francisco errors too, kind of a rarity in 1970s Lincoln, so something to keep in mind. But that's going to go ahead and do it. You guys have a lot of work cut out for you, a lot of coins in circulation you can find today that can net you out some pretty wild money on the secondary market. I'm your host, Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Let me know what your favorite coin is of this week. There's a few favorites that I personally like as well. And I wish you guys luck in all of your hunting endeavors. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video. You know the drill. But that's going to go ahead and do it. My coinaholics, friends, love you guys. Thank you for all the views and support. And go get them. I'll see you on the next coin video. So long.